Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a 12-team PPR mock draft for the 10th overall spot using Sleeper. The roster positions for today's mock are to be 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 flex spots, a kicker defense, and 5 bench spots. But before we can head on into this mock draft, I would like to ask that if you are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. So without further ado, let's get into this 12-team PPR mock draft from the 10th overall spot. I did end up releasing my rankings over on Patreon, so if you want to check out my rankings, full PPR and half PPR, they are linked in the video description on my Patreon for $12.50. And if you would like to get them with just a $10 deposit over on Underdog, you will get those sent to your email the next day. So Saquon Barkley, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Puka Nacua, CeeDee Lamb, and Nico Collins. So through the first 9 picks, only 3 running backs off of the board. Now, we have talked about this a ton. The running back position is definitely falling out of favor inside of the first round, especially on websites like Sleeper based upon current ADP. Now, this makes me love picking at the 10th overall spot because I really believe that in a lot of leagues, you guys might be able to secure Christian McCaffrey and Devon Achane, or Derrick Henry and Devon Achane, whichever running back combo you like, Ashton Genty and Christian McCaffrey, because the ADP is not correct. Christian McCaffrey, in my opinion, should easily be a first-round pick. I understand that there is immense risk with him, right, because the guy has gotten hurt in the past. He completely burned you last season, but the upside for Christian McCaffrey is running back 1, and it's not just, oh, he barely finished as the running back number 1 because Bijan scored 2 less points than him, or Saquon Barkley scored 3 less points than him. No, Christian McCaffrey could be scoring 20, 30, 40, 50 plus points more than the running back number 2. The guy is simply that good. He looks 100% healthy. It's not just me buying into a report out of camp that Kyle Shanahan says he looks good. The eye test tells me that Christian McCaffrey is fully healthy. The eye test tells me that Christian McCaffrey could be in consideration to be a top 6 pick, and people just aren't clocking that yet. They ain't realizing it yet. So at the 1.10, Christian McCaffrey to me is a no-brainer, even though technically we may have been able to get him inside of the second round. So after McCaffrey, Brian Thomas Jr., Drizzy Drake London, Derrick Henry, and Malik Neighbors. So out of the first round, I don't think any of those players were all that out of the ordinary outside of Drizzy Drake London. Now, I love Drake London. If you look at the end of last season, once Michael Penix Jr. took over from Kirk Cousins, Cole's Cash Kirk himself, Drake London exploded. Mount Vesuvius, the guy was dominating 50 Shades of Grey style once Michael Penix Jr. took over because he was seeing a crazy amount of targets game in and game out. So I'm definitely big on Drake London this season. Just wouldn't take him in the first round. I definitely like him inside of the second round instead. So when you see a draft go like this, right, where people are loading up on wide receivers, which is definitely a new trend, you want to be zigging when they are zagging, right? You want to be doing a little bit of the opposite. Now, I always say, in general, your draft strategy should be just to pick the best player available. I don't think you should go into your draft thinking, oh, I need to draft a quarterback by the 4th round, or I need a tight end in the top 3 rounds, because if I don't take one, my team is absolutely fucked, because then you reach on a quarterback, you reach on the tight end thinking, oh, I need to get 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds would be, in my opinion, putting yourself into a box, because had Christian McCaffrey not have been there, I don't really like Derrick Henry at the 1.10. So for me, I would have passed on running back in that range, or maybe I would have went with Ashton Genty or even Devon Achane, who I genuinely believe has the talent to be a first-round pick in this Dolphins offense. For me, if this was who was available, I'm a big fan of Brock Bowers, but I don't really like my teams when I draft a tight end inside the second round. Now, we did end up drafting Brock Bowers in our last mock draft, and I did like my team, but typically I don't like my team as much when I take a tight end super early. So for me, Brock Bowers at this pick is just a little bit too high to me. So looking at the wide receivers, AJ Brown, Ladd McConkey, JSN, Tyreek Hill, it's very clear you need to go running back here. So it's either Genty or Achane. Personally, I have Achane ranked a little bit higher, but since we haven't really taken Genty in any of these mock drafts, I would like to take him here so we talk about him a little bit. His tape at Boise State is mouthwatering. The guy was downright incredible last season. If Travis Hunter just didn't exist, if his dad pulled out of his mom, then we would be talking about Ashton Genty as the clear Heisman winner last season. The guy's incredible. He has great hands as well. I understand that the Raiders definitely don't have the best last couple of years in terms of fantasy success. Right, Antonio Brown gets traded there. He gets cold feet, literally, and leaves. You drafted Raiders before. It doesn't go that well, but I do think Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, this offense is going to get better, and I am a big fan of Genty this season. If you want to say, Nick, it's unrealistic that Genty was there, then you could just went ahead and put Achane in there instead, who I love in the second round. He is, if I am picking from picks 9 through 12, I want Achane as my second round pick every single time. After Genty, Brock Bowers, Devon Achane, AJ Brown, Trey McBride, Ladd McConkey, Josh Jacobs, Josh Allen, Bucky Irving, Tyreek Hill. The third round opens with JSN, Lamar Jackson, Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, Jaden, Stormy Daniels, Kyron Williams, Garrett Wilson, Tee Higgins, and Chase Brown. So if you want one of the big three at the quarterback position, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Jaden Daniels, it feels basically crystal clear at this point that unless you're in a league that really loves waiting at the quarterback position, you're going to have to take, if you really want Josh Allen, or if you really like Lamar, those guys are your clear QB1, right? You probably have to take them at the end of the second, the early third round, because if you get outside the third round and they still haven't been taken, that is pretty out of the ordinary, in my opinion. So we went with running backs back-to-back, Michael Jordan, 96, 97. So that leaves us at a position here where, sure, if you like James Cook, I don't. I get why people like James Cook because the offense he's attached to, but the facts are facts. He scored a zillion touchdowns last season. The likelihood of him actually scoring that many touchdowns again, in my opinion, is very low. I love Omarion Hampton. I think Omarion Hampton's going to end up being an early third round pick by the time things are all said and done and fantasy football drafts have been completed as a whole in early September. I think that Hampton's going to keep on climbing. It's the climb. But we already have Genty. We already have Christian McCaffrey. So for me, it's got to be a wide receiver in this range, unless you wanted to go ahead and get George Kittle, which I think is acceptable as well. I think Kittle could easily finish as the tight end 1. And the fact that in a lot of drafts, there's a round plus buffer on George Kittle compared to Trey McBride or Brock Bowers just makes me like him even more. So out of the wide receivers here, Terry McLaurin is currently, he demanded a trade. He wants out. The Commanders aren't interested in trading him. So to me, this is kind of like the Ayuk situation from last year, right? Where we hear all these rumors. Ayuk's a Steeler because he looks exactly like Mike Tomlin, right? He's his long-lost son. Ayuk is going to be on X team, right? And then it just never happens, right? Terry McLaurin's going to be a Jet. Terry McLaurin is going to be a New England Patriot, right? And then he's just a Commander after holding out for a while, waiting for that contract. For me, do I think Terry McLaurin is going to be a Commander? Yes, but I definitely would be a little bit more hesitant to smash the draft button on him right here due to the fact that he is still not with the team. Marvin Harrison Jr. to me is a great pick, but he comes with a lot of risk, right? I can't sit here and pretend like Marvin Harrison Jr. is this super safe pick, because while we all know that the talent is there for him, right? It's in his genes. Shout out to Sidney Sweeney. I think that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to end up really having a big season. But he's linked to Kyler Murray, who kind of looks meh. The offense, who knows if they're going to really tailor it to him, but the upside is there for him. I loved Rashee Rice in this range, but to be honest with you, now that we don't know his exact suspension length, it does feel a little bit grosser. I love Devontae Adams. We'll see what happens with Stafford, because if Stafford's good to go for week 1, I think Devontae Adams is a clear smash in the 3rd or the 4th round. So here, since it does feel like a little bit more of a guessing game, I do love Marvin Harrison Jr. I am fine going with George Kittle here, getting that positional advantage at the tight end position, never having to worry about the tight end position because I got my guy George Kittle. Some people will say that you can't draft 2 players on the same team this early. I fully disagree with that when it is a team like the 49ers that we all expect to bounce back and play much better. Now, if you drafted 2 players on the Jets in the first 3 rounds, I got a lot of questions for you, right? But if you draft 2 players on a team like the 49ers, on a team like the Lions, it's not as crazy, in my opinion. After George Kittle, we see Terry McLaurin, James Cook, Joe Burrow, and Devontae Adams. So we're going to go with Marvin Harrison Jr. I get, again, that he is very risky. He's not wrapping some bubble wrap around your team, but the guy's talent, in my opinion, is simply undeniable. You cannot deny the talent with him. It's all about if the offense actually starts using him correctly. Last year, you were just seeing them be like, hey, run straight, right? Go for the go ball, and then feed him the ball, and he's just not good at doing that. They need to get him more involved through the middle of the field, and I hope that they figured that out, because based on where they drafted Marvin Harrison Jr., if they haven't figured that out by now, they have clear organizational problems. If you want to be a little bit safer, Mike Evans or DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton, DK Metcalf would have been fine in that range as well. But to me, I get McCaffrey's pretty risky, and Harrison inherently is a little bit more risky, but I think Genty and Kittle are very safe, so I'm fine taking that upside swing. After Marvin Harrison Jr., Mike Evans, Alvin Kamara, Rashee Rice, DK Metcalf, Kenneth Walker III, Sam Laporta, DJ Moore, James Conner, Omarion Hampton. The 5th round opens with Jalen Hurts, Chuba Hubbard, Devontae Smith, David Montgomery, Cortland Sutton, Xavier Worthy, Zay Flowers, Pat Mahomes, and Joe Mixon. Now, Joe Mixon was a guy that prior to all of this news about his injury, I was talking up Joe Mixon because he's kind of just underappreciated every single year for fantasy. But with him dealing with the injury and with the reporting being as cloudy as it is, I think he's a terrible pick inside of the 5th round. I love Jalen Hurts this season. I think Jalen Hurts could easily finish as the quarterback number 1. Now, I get they got Saquon there, but Jalen Hurts has the opportunity to rush for a shit ton of touchdowns. They have one of the best, if not the best, offensive lines in the NFL. They have Devontae Smith. They have A.J. Brown. I mean, all the pieces are set there for Jalen Hurts to potentially have a humongous season. Now, we're back up on the clock here, and we are definitely going to be just continuing to hammer the wide receiver position. I like Pacheco. I used to like Quinshon Judkins a ton until what happened, and now it's like I would not draft him at all in this range. We're definitely going to be going with wide receiver. A lot of hype on Jameson Williams, and I do think Jameson Williams is a very talented player, but I think the likelihood of a guy like Jameson Williams potentially getting fucked by the fact that Ben Johnson isn't the guy calling the plays is a lot more likely than Amon-Ra being the loser out of that scenario, or a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs. So I'm going to go with George Pickens. The Dallas Cowboys are an absolute disaster. Micah Parsons is requesting a trade. He wants out. Will they pay him? Are they going to tag him? What are they going to do? We shall see what happens in the circus that is Jerry's world. But George Pickens has been popping in training camp. George Pickens has always had the skill. He just never really had the quarterback. He doesn't have to worry about facing the number 1 coverage with Dallas, because obviously CeeDee Lamb is going to be dealing with that, and I like the upside that George Pickens possesses at that spot. After George Pickens, TJ Hawkinson, RJ Harvey, I almost said Javonte Williams. Jesus. Jameson Williams and Isaiah Pacheco. Travis Hunter is just off my board for me. I understand that I could get fully burnt by Travis Hunter, right? Travis Hunter has all of the ability. There's a reason why he won the Heisman. But when you are right now where we are sitting, very unclear of how much offense he's going to play versus how much defense. Nick, they traded all those picks with the Browns to move up, so he's definitely going to play a lot of offense. We're going to see. To me, it's just a little bit too risky. I love Ted McMillan this year. I like Jalen Waddle a decent amount, but we're going to go with the rookie here, because while Ted McMillan might start off a little bit slower, we have kind of came accustomed to rookie wide receivers, rookies in general, just kind of coming out the gate in recent years on fire, NBA Jam style. He could start a little bit slower, but we did see the Carolina Panthers become incredibly pass heavy down the stretch of last season, and Bryce Young play a lot better. I'm not ready to crown Bryce Young as the clear franchise quarterback of the Panthers, and neither are they. Based upon what I have read, they're not really ready to pass him that big fat bag, give him that big contract. But Ted McMillan, T-Mac, as he likes to be called, did pop heavily in terms of the eye test at Arizona. I think he's the clear wide receiver 1 in terms of targets. In Carolina, if they are as pass heavy as they were down the stretch of last season, Ted McMillan could be a clear league winner that you can find inside of the 6th round. After we went ahead and took T-Mac, Travis Hunter, Travion Henderson, Baker Mayfield, Chris Olave, Ron Jones, his teammate Jordan, Addison Ray, Jalen Waddle away, Travis Kelce, Jerry Jeudy, DeAndre Swift, Chris Godwin, Caleb Johnson, Calvin Ridley, Quinshawn Judkins, Jacoby Myers, Tony Pollard, Tyrone Tracy, Bo Nix, and now we are back up on the clock here. Thus far, we have Christian McCaffrey, Ashton Genty, George Kittle, Marvin Harrison Jr., George Pickens, as well as Tet McMillan. But before we make our next pick, I would like to give you guys a quick word for our friends, our partner over at Underdog. Underdog has a great offer for you guys right now. If you're first-time depositors using promo code Notorious or by using in the link in the video description, you will get a free pick, something like in the MLB or in a different sport, higher than half of a total point. You will also receive a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash, as well as getting my fantasy football draft rankings for free to your email the day after you sign up. The reason why I love Underdog is their best ball tournaments. The best part about best ball is it's the draft, and that's it. There's no waivers, no trades, no in-season management. Underdog automatically puts the highest scores into your lineup at the end of every single week. Their biggest tournament, Best Ball Mania, $25 to enter, $2 million to first place, $15 million in total prizes. I love drafting on there, so come draft with me over on Underdog, promo code Notorious. So back on into the draft here, and we just have to keep on clicking on the wide receiver position. We have taken some risks at wide receiver. I will admit it, we have a pretty volatile wide receiver room right now, but we're going to be able to add some safety as we get deeper and deeper on into the draft. I think Stefon Diggs should be a 7th round pick, but he's not right now, and I'm comfortable taking him with this next selection because he's the clear wide receiver 1 in New England. Everyone has their knee pads on, just sucking on the metaphorical wee-wee of the New England Patriots. Mike Vrabel's going to turn it all around. Oh my gosh, they're going to win 10 fucking games. This, that, and the other thing. Everyone loves them, but for some reason, they're praising Drizzy Drake May, but they're not talking about Stefon Diggs, who's the clear alpha wide receiver. And in Houston last year, when healthy, he was lighting it up. He's been impressing in camp. If you look at the stats, there were a bunch of big games there in Houston, and now he's the clear wide receiver 1, and the competition is guys like Mario Douglas, Kayshon Boutte. I like Kyle Williams, but come on, man. Come on, man. I think Stefon Diggs should be going much higher. And to me, he's a no-brainer inside the 7th round, even though it might be for some people a quote-unquote reach. After Stefon Diggs, Jalen Warren, Jadu Smith, Deebo Samuel, and the Goffinator, Jared Goff. So we still don't have a quarterback. Lots of teams have a quarterback. Team 1's got a quarterback. Team 2, Team 3. Team 4 does not have a quarterback. Team 5 is a quarterback. No quarterback on Team 6. And every other team has a quarterback. So by the time we pick again, both of those teams that don't have one could easily take one. I like Kyler Murray, and I always have. But after last season, I don't know if I want to trust him when I could get a guy like Brock Purdy, who I trust a lot more. Obviously, having 3 49ers is going to feel a little bit gross weekly. But if you think McCaffrey and Kittle are going to explode, have these great seasons, then Brock Purdy's obviously going to be a part of it. I like a guy like Dak Prescott late. I like a guy like Justin Fields late, even though he is dealing with that injury. So for me, if I don't get Lamar, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, and Baker and Bo Nix are gone, I kind of just feel like waiting. And we have our 2 staple running backs, so I don't feel the need to click on the running back position again just yet. Now, if you want to just draft B-Rob because you want to get that safety net as your running back 3. Now, there has been a lot of hype for his teammate. I thought maybe that would be shown off here on Sleeper, but it's not. His teammate's name is Ja'Cory Krosky Moret, and there's a lot of hype about him. He's looking good. Late round draft pick for the Washington Commanders. Let's see if we can just pull him up, and the report will show up. He's strong start at camp. He made a huge impression throughout the first week. We'll see if he even ends up making the team, right? There's these guys that look good in training camp. They don't do diddly squat during the season. I think Brian Robinson's clearly the RB1 on the team. I think he's clearly going to be getting a lot of touches on the goal line. We have a team like the Commanders, assuming Terry McLaurin is back. this is a team that is going to be scoring a shit ton of points, and Brian Robinson might just fall ass backwards into scoring like 10 plus touchdowns. So if you did want to shore up your RB3 spot, you can draft him. But I'm fine again with, if you drafted McCaffrey and Genty, you're just assuming that they hit. I'm not wrapping a condom around them, being safe with my RB3 when my wide receiver position is more volatile. So I'm just going to keep on taking more wide receivers. I love Rome Odunze. Khalil Shakir kind of just seems like the safe bet in this range, right? You just want to secure a decent floor play game in and game out. That's what Shakir possesses, but I don't really feel like Shakir is going to end up being a guy that messes around and wins me my fantasy league, right? I think I would be pretty hard pressed for the season to be over and, you know, really believe that Shakir is going to take that next leap up where he's a league-winning wide receiver. He's just a comfy click. I'm going to go with Rome Odunze here again. We're going to keep adding more risky picks to our team and then maybe go with a couple more safe options late. At wide receiver, Rome Odunze had all the talent too. He's another guy where, you know how we talked about how if you just eliminated Travis Hunter, Control and Alt deleted him from the earth metaphorically, then we'd be talking about Genty just even more amazingly, right? If you took Marvin Harrison Jr. off the board, you'd be talking about Rome Odunze that way as the clear wide receiver one in the 2024 NFL draft class. So Rome Odunze definitely feels like a needle mover to me with the addition of Ben Johnson, especially with the reports being around DJ Moore just not being the most positive. Just not being the most positive. Again, I don't think DJ Moore is a bad pick by any means. But when I pick him, I'm never really like, oh, you know, when McGregor, it's red panty night, right? That's not what it's like when you draft DJ Moore, in my opinion. After Rome Odunze, Brian Robinson Jr., Mark Andrews, Jawan Jennings, who really just can't stay healthy right now. Sidelined for a third straight day. I'm pretty scared off Jawan Jennings right now, even though I do like him. But that's why you typically do your draft late August, early September. So you can massage through the injuries, you can comb through the injuries, and you'll realize, hey, Jawan Jennings is fully healthy, or hey, Jawan Jennings is a clear landmine, because I just don't want to be drafting injured players onto my team because the injury bug is going to get you. It's going to find you regardless. After Jawan Jennings, Kyler Murray, Khalil Shakira, Justin Herbert, the pervert, Tyler Warren, Golden, Jaden Reed, his teammate Jaden, Riley Reed, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne, Cooper Kupp, David Njoku, Najee Harris, Slick, Ricky Pearsall, 50 Cent, Ricky Pearsall, Ricky Rolex, I almost called him Jameson Mason, Jordan, the numbers Mason, what do they mean, Brandon Ayuk, and I'm a scat man, bop, billy, bop, Am Scataboo, who apparently was going so hard in practice, started to miss practice because he was balling too hard. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 bench spots left. We definitely need to start adding running backs at some point, but until ADP comes correct, Josh Downs is an insta-pick. Josh Downs seems, based on training camp reports, to be the wide receiver one in Indianapolis. Now, I get they have Michael Pittman. I like Michael Pittman, but it seems like Josh Downs is that guy. Anthony Richardson looking really good in training camp. Now, I've been fooled multiple times by Anthony Richardson, so I'm not going to fully be like, oh, you got to draft Anthony Richardson in your redraft league. But if you're playing on Underdog, where Anthony Richardson goes in the 17th or 18th round, and you just never have to know when to actually play him because they automatically put the highest score into your lineup at the end of every single week, why not draft him? Because he's going to have multiple 25, 30-plus point games, even though you're probably never going to be able to predict him. Josh Downs has looked incredible. I think he's a pretty safe bet. I like Egbuka as well, but I think Josh Downs is the wide receiver one on his team. If Godwin gets healthy, Egbuka is the wide receiver 3. So after Josh Downs, Javonte Williams, Colston Loveland, and Big Cock Brock Purdy. This is the point where I would take a quarterback because I know my league. You got to know your league. There are going to be people that start to take backup quarterbacks. It just happened. Joe Burrow. The Team 12 has Joe Burrow at the 4th round and then takes Brock Purdy in the 10th round. It's going to happen. In a lot of your leagues, you're not playing with the sharpest people. They might draft Joe Burrow in the 4th round and then feel like they need to condom wrap, be super safe with Brock Purdy. You don't need to draft a backup quarterback if you draft a quarterback early. Now, if you take Justin Fields like I'm about to do, and you're like, okay, Justin Fields dealing with a foot injury, maybe we should be smart and draft a second quarterback. That's fine, right? But if you're paying the piper, right, you're drafting Josh Allen at the 2.10 and you draft a second quarterback, you are doing things wrong, in my opinion. So we're going to go with Justin Fields. It's going to say it's a reach, blah, blah, blah. I think he should be going higher. I know that the foot injury is a bit concerning, but Again, I'm as much of a doctor as Johnny Sins. It doesn't seem all that bad yet, but again, you want to keep monitoring situations with injuries because obviously if it starts to get worse, then my worry would be a whole lot more. And again, if you want to be as safe as possible, you can take another backup quarterback for your squad. After Justin Fields, Zach Charbonnet, Michael Pittman Jr., Dalton Kincaid, Tajay Spears, Jaden Higgins, Emeka Egbuka, Tucker Kraft Mac and Cheese, Jordan Love Me Tender, Love Me Sweet, Darnell Here Comes the Mooney, Caleb Williams, Jake Ferguson, Dak Prescott, Shahid, Rashid Shaheed, CJ Stroud, Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, Marvin Mims, Keon Coleman. I'm starting to like Rashid Shaheed more. I don't trust the quarterback at all, but Chris Olave seems to just get hurt, lacing his cleats up. I'm not rooting for injury. We'll knock on wood. I hope he stays healthy, but he keeps getting hurt. Shaheed's the big play guy. Maybe Tyler Shuck just does the fuck it. Shaheed's out there somewhere and just heaves him an absolute piss missile. So we're back up here. Normally we go with a guy like J.K. Dobbins in this range, but again, I'm trying to differ things from team to team. So we're going to go Tank Bigsby here. The reports have been very positive for him being the running back one on the team. Again, it's still early on in the process, so I don't want to just be like, oh, it's a guarantee, because it could be ETN. It could even be Bishal Tootin who's going ahead of him, but there was a lot of positive reports about Bigsby recently. So fantasy football is, sure, it's a game of knowledge. It's knowing how good you think a player is. I think Bigsby's better than ETN. I do. But he does have fumbling issues. But it's also an information game, right? You want to follow the information, and the information trail leads me towards wanting Tank Bigsby. Jadon Blue after him, followed by J.K. Dobbins, Luther Burton, and Trey Harris. Now, we're going to talk about someone real quick who doesn't get drafted at all in these drafts, but I think we want to just talk about for like a second here. Keenan Allen visited with the Chargers on Friday. Look, if he's back on the Chargers, I get, is Keenan Allen the same Keenan Allen he used to be? No, he's not. But Keenan Allen's going to quickly move up boards if he is on the Chargers, even with Ladd McConkey, because you just trust him. Unk still got it. He looked fine enough last year. He'd be the clear wide receiver 2 on the offense ahead of a guy like Trey Harris. So I think Keenan Allen should be getting picked higher, like on Underdog drafts, especially since he's probably going to sign with the Chargers, and we will see where his ADP moves if he does sign with the Chargers. Maybe this is just a nothing burger. He goes to visit with the Chargers and nothing ends up happening. That's also possible as well. So we definitely want to get another running back on this squad. You could just play the game of, hey, I'm going to go Tank Bigsby and Bishal Tootin guarantee that I get a usable piece in the Jags offense, because last year we saw Rachaad White as well as Bucky Irving be able to coexist, Liam Cohen offense. That's okay, but again, I don't like doing that. I don't like just being like, let me just go ahead and secure the backfield, because if I do that and then ETN's the guy, I'm going to feel like a fucking dumbass. I'm going to feel really stupid. So I'm not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and draft 9-inch Nicholas Chubb again with Joe Mixon. Who knows what's going to happen, because every single report you read about Joe Mixon just feels like rumors. It feels incredibly cloudy when you're trying to, like the meatballs, when you're trying to figure out what's going on. So again, Nick Chubb, he's not really getting a lot of praise in camp, but I saw a couple of videos. He looks okay. I still don't think he's the old Nick Chubb of the past, but if he's the lead back on the team for a couple of weeks, and maybe, Joe Mixon's injury takes longer, that Nick Chubb's the kind of guy you might be able to trade just straight to the Joe Mixon owner after 1 week of him playing good as some nice trade bait, or maybe you just play him after week 1. He has a big game. Mixon's still missing time. There's worse backs than Nick Chubb, especially if they're just looking to use him on the goal line, right? Because I think the Texans are going to have to throw the ball a ton, and Nick Chubb could score a bunch of touchdowns. So after Nick Chubb, Rachaad White, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, Bishal Tootin. The Commanders' defense, Rashad Master Bateman, Christian Kirk, Kyle Williams, Isaac Garendo. Bunch of defenses, bunch of kickers. Shout out Cameron Dicker, the kicker. Austin Eckler, Isaiah Likely, Jack Besh, and Zach Ertz as well. So we're going to close this off by drafting another wide receiver, because again, our wide receiver core, there's risk in it. I think there's a lot of upside too with Marvin Harrison, George Pickens, Ted McMillan, Stephon Diggs, Adunze, Josh Downs, but there's some risk, right? Whereas I feel a little bit more confident in our running back room. So we'll go with another wide receiver here. If you wanted to go with the running back, that's fine. If you want to go with the second quarterback, that's fine as well. But I'm going to go ahead and draft a wide receiver here. Hollywood Brown's ADP probably will move down. He's dealing with the ankle injury. I wasn't really interested in him in general, so the fact that he's banged up makes me question him even more. Cedric Tillman, I really like. He had that big games last season, that stretch of 3 games from week 7 through 9, where he was playing out of his mind. Can he consistently do that? Probably not, right? Probably not, but there's a chance. And people say, Nick, we fall for this all the time. We fall for the trap. We try to do the Indiana Jones where you replace the idol, you put down the wrong weight, and now you're running away from this giant ball like you're playing Temple Run. I get it. We've fallen for it before, but normally you fall for the Zamir White, which I fell for last season. And, you know, Nick, you're such an idiot. I know, but it's because he wasn't going that high. I felt fine doing it. You're getting a guy now in the 13th round with that upside. So again, could it completely fail? 100%. But when you're this deep on into the draft, you shouldn't be worried about drafting the safest player. You want to be getting upside because you're going to be churning out your bench spots, right? This isn't the team for the whole season. We're going to be moving guys around that don't work. I wish I could talk myself into Quentin Johnston, because if they don't add Keenan Allen, I kind of do like Quentin Johnston. The guy absolutely sucks ass at, actually playing football, but he is just going to be very involved in the offense. But we're going to go with Cedric Tillman. There's been some hype for Xavier Legette as well, but we're going to go ahead and get Sid, like Sid the Sloth. After Cedric Tillman, Chase McLaughlin, Baltimore Ravens defense, Chris Boswell, and Cameron Ward. We're going to go ahead and draft our kicker first, and we're going to go ahead and draft Harrison Butker. He's the highest ranked kicker. And then for defense, you want to draft your defense not based upon how good you actually think the defense is. That might sound crazy. It might sound crazy, but I'm going to explain it to you. You want to draft your defense based upon their week 1 matchup, because in week number 1, you want to get that advantage over your opponent. And then in week 2, if that defense has a tough matchup, you drop them like it's hot for a new defense. Every single week, you want to have the defense advantage, because sure, while the Denver Broncos have this great defense, Pat Surtain, all these other guys, right? And I get that. I think the Denver Broncos have the best defense, but they might not have the best week 1 matchup. They're going to have tough games. So the Seahawks, week 1, they go up against the 49ers. That would be a big no-no. The Texans go up against the Rams. Now, if Jimmy Guap is starting at quarterback instead of Matthew Stafford because of the injury, then we want to be banging the drum for the Houston Texans. Are the Rams available? They are. The Rams are going up against the Texans. Now, I like CJ Stroud, but this is a newer offense for them. They lose Diggs. They don't have Tank Dell. Things are changing there, and the Rams have that fierce D-line. I think they're going to be able to get to CJ Stroud because his offensive line sucks dick. So I like the Rams at that pick because of their week 1 matchup. Whoever they play in week number 2, if they have to go up against the Titans, that's a great matchup too. But in week number 3 up against the Eagles in the Link in Philadelphia, fuck no, baby. So thank you guys all so much for watching. To recap our team, our quarterback is Justin Fields. Our running backs are Christian McCaffrey and Ashton Genty. Our wide receivers are Marvin Harrison Jr. and George Pickens. Our tight end is George Kittle. Our flexes are Ted McMillan and Stephon Diggs. Our kickers, Harrison Butker. Our defense is the Rams. Our bench is comprised of Rome Odunze, Josh Downs, Tank Bigsby, Nick Chubb, Cedric Tillman. Is this team super safe? No, but the upside has me feeling real nicey. Shout out to John Gruden. So this is the whole board. If you wanted to see it, you could pause it. Look at the board. Make sure you guys do check out the link in the video description to get my rankings. And if you want to get my rankings for just $10, if you're new to Underdog, make sure you guys sign up on there as well. Promo code Notorious, get your free pick, plus your deposit bonus, as well as getting the rankings. Check out one of the videos on our screen if you haven't seen them already. I love you long time. Have a great one. Videos every single day in August. Love you. Good boy.